today's video, I wanted to show you how I did this fall design and how I did this encapsulated nails. But before we start, remember that it's so important to always prep the nails, and I already done that. So now I'm gonna put the form completely straight because I'm gonna be doing square nails. To start with this first nail, I'm going to be doing an ombre design, but it's also going to be encapsulated. So that's the reason why I'm going to create this thin layer of crystal clear acrylic, because it's going to serve me as a base. And also these nails are going to be pretty long. They're going to be about XL size, kind of. Now that I have that done, I'm going to show you the glitters that I'm going to be using. First this orange one, then this gold glitter. And to finish up, I'm going to use this red one. To create this ombre nail, first I'm going to be using the orange glitter. And what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to push it upwards until it's on the upper half of the nail. The way that I add this glitter is that I create small beads of the same crystal clear acrylic. And I'm going to put the glitter on top. In that way, I can move it around and it kind of serves me as a glue because it's not going to fall off. And now that I'm done using the orange one, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be adding the gold glitter and later on the red one. Like you guys can tell, the way that I do this is that I work with layers because I feel like it looks better this way. And to finish up this ombre design, I'm going to be adding this pink, kind of neutral pink acrylic. First, I'm going to put it up near the cuticle and I'm going to use my brush to drag it downwards until both of the colors mix together. That's when you know the ombre looks great. And now that I have everything done, I'm going to start encapsulating the part where I added the glitter, because otherwise what can happen is that it can start falling off, and once we start filing this nail, it can end up being a mess. So I'm going to use crystal clear acrylic and I'm going to cover everything. And of course, just like I do in all of my tutorials, I'm going to apply some pressure on the sides. It's going to make my nail look more natural and prettier. On this second nail, I'm going to be doing something kind of different because here I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to be building this nail like I would usually do. So I'm going to put the first acrylic bead between the natural nail and the form. And I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to do little taps on the acrylic until I drag it downwards. And it ends up being the shape that I like. And now that I have that done, I'm going to apply the last acrylic bead on top of the natural nail and I'm going to connect everything. When you guys push the acrylic upwards, remember that it's important not to touch the cuticle or the skin, because what this can do is that it can start making your nail lift. That can cause it to fall a lot sooner than it's supposed to. This third one, I'm going to be creating this encapsulated French design. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the same pink acrylic that I used on the first nail, and I'm going to create the base of the French nail, which is this small almond shape. The most important part of doing this is to make sure that both sides of the almond shape are completely symmetrical, because once you start applying the glitter and everything, there's nothing you can do to fix it. So what I like to do is I take off the form and I start filing the sides until they're both exactly the same. And now that I have this done, I'm going to put the form back, but remember that it has to be completely symmetrical. And now I'm going to start adding the glitter, and the way that I do this is I create small bits of the crystal clear acrylic and I put the glitter on top. In that way I can push it around and put it wherever I like it. Remember that I like to work with layers, so first I'm going to add the orange glitter, then the gold one, and to finish up the red one. Also, a little tip that I have for you guys is to make sure that the glitter is not too thick, because remember that we have to encapsulate this nail and otherwise it can end up looking a little bit too chunky. And now that I have the glitter added, I'm going to use the same crystal clear acrylic to start encapsulating this nail. I recommend you to put a little bit of it on top of the pink almond base, because in that way it's going to make your nail be a lot stronger. And just like always, I'm going to apply some pressure on the sides. And on to the last nail for this tutorial. Here I'm going to be doing a 100% encapsulated design. We're not going to be doing ombre or anything else. So to start with, I'm gonna be creating the same thin layer using crystal clear acrylic. I recommend you guys to make it pretty thin because remember that we have to add glitter and we also have to encapsulate it. And now that I have that done, I'm gonna start by applying the orange glitter. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna add it all over the nail. Also, I recommend you guys not to add too much of it because otherwise you're not going to be able to see the rest. And now that I'm done using the orange one, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm going to add the gold glitter and the red one. And now that I have everything added, I'm going to start by encapsulating this nail. I recommend you guys to do pretty liquid bits because in that way you're going to be able to cover everything up and it's going to be much easier. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I like by adding the first beads up near the cuticle and then I drag it downwards. And this is how these nails look like. They're not perfect, but that's why filing is so important. File nails, I like to start by filing the sides, and since these are square nails, I'm gonna put the file completely straight. This is how the nails ended up looking. Like you guys can tell, the sides are a lot more sharp now. Now the only thing left to do is to file the surface, and I'm gonna use my e-file for that. But if you guys want to, you can use a regular one. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna file down these nails until they're pretty thin. And also I'm gonna make sure that there's no bumps left behind. And this is how the nails ended up looking. Now we can move on and do the design. But before we start, make sure that you clean off the nails because after filing, there's always gonna be some dust left behind. And now I'm gonna start by doing the design on the second nail that you guys remember that we left pretty simple. And here what I'm gonna do is that first I'm gonna apply the base color, which is this kind of pink neutral gel polish. And I'm gonna do 2 layers of it until it's the coverage that I like. And remember to cure everything for about 30 seconds. On the second nail, what I'm gonna be doing is this type of plaid shirt. So the first color that I'm gonna use is this dark green. And like you guys can tell, I'm gonna do a straight line that is gonna go from the cuticle down until the tip of the nail. And it's also going to be kind of chunky because this is gonna serve as the base for everything else that we're gonna add. And now that I have this done, I'm gonna move on and use this orange gel polish. Here the only difference is that I'm gonna make 2 very thin, and for that I recommend you to use this thin nail art brush because otherwise it's going to be way too hard to do this. So I recommend you to cure each color as you go on because otherwise all the colors are gonna end up mixing and it's going to be a complete mess. And now that I'm done with these 3 lines, I'm going to do an orange one up near the cuticle, and then I'm going to start by using this gold gel paint. And here I'm going to do another line, but this time it's going to be thicker. Like you guys can tell, the colors that I'm using are fall related. I'm trying not to use neon colors because otherwise the whole design is going to end up looking a little bit strange. And now that I'm done doing these 2 gold lines, I'm gonna finish up by doing more thin lines, but this time it's going to be with the color yellow. You guys can tell I did 2 on top and 1 on the bottom right next to the tip of the nail. And before we move on, remember to cure everything. And this is how the nails look like. Now, my favorite part of doing encapsulated nails is adding a little bit of top coat because like you guys know, you are able to see everything that you encapsulated, especially on this first nail since we did this ombre design. You can end up seeing how both of the colors mix, and I think that it looks so pretty. And like you guys know, using top coat is not only gonna add a really pretty shine, but it's also going to protect the designs that we created. And I'm gonna move on to add this top coat on all of the nails. On this last one, you guys can really see how the glitter shines. After adding top coat is when we would cure the nails, but this time I'm not gonna do it because I wanna add some stones. I felt like the design looked a little bit too simple. I'm gonna start with this third nail, and like you guys can tell, I'm gonna be using different sizes. The bigger one is going to be on the middle, and I'm gonna still add some more stones on the last two nails. And of course, once I'm done, I'm gonna cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the final design looks like. I love the combination of the colors. I think these encapsulated nails look really pretty, and it's going to go perfect for the fall. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!